The second major PS5 system software update is launched to all PS5 owners globally. The update includes a variety of enhancements to the PS5 console experience, as well as 3D audio support for built-in TV speakers. It also features M.2 SSD storage expansion, which enables PS5 players to store and play PS5 games, PS4 games, and media apps directly from the expanded high-speed storage. The PS5 September update features new UX enhancements that make it easier than ever for players to view, personalize and manage their game content and console experience. Players can now customize their control center more freely by rearranging or choosing which controls to hide or unhide at the bottom of the screen. Players can now easily view and write messages to friends and parties directly from Game Base in the control center. While viewing Game Base in full screen, players can also see how many of their friends are online, busy or offline, as well as accept, decline or cancel multiple friend requests at once. If you have PS4 and PS5 versions of the same game installed, they'll now appear separately in the Installed tab of the game library and on the home screen. Each game's tile now also clearly indicates its platform. Players can now pause or resume screen reader, press PS plus triangle buttons, and have it repeat anything it reads, press PS plus or 1 buttons. PlayStation Now subscribers can choose between 720p or 1080p, depending on individual game, to accommodate their preferred video resolution for game streaming. A streaming connection test also helps them identify and troubleshoot any problems with their connection. Following an online match, players can award others with a fourth accolade type, leader, which is visible on players' profiles. When players compete in challenges for a better time or a higher score and set a new personal best, a video clip of the action will automatically be recorded. Players can also share clips of their personal bests directly from the challenge card in the control center or from their media gallery. Players have direct control over this functionality via their captures and broadcast settings. A new trophy tracker is added that lets players quickly access up to 5 trophies per game through the control center. The PS5 September update adds support for players to experience 3D audio through their built-in TV speakers. Once enabled in the sound menu, this feature transforms standard 2-channel TV speaker audio into 3-dimensional sound, heightening the sense of gameplay immersion. Players can measure the acoustics of their room using the microphone on their DualSense wireless controller to apply the 3D audio setting that's optimized for their room. 3D audio via compatible headsets on PS5 has been a popular feature among fans and developers. In addition, players with a Pulse 3D wireless headset now have access to equalizer settings within sound controls, allowing them to customize the sound profile according to their preference. PS5 players around the globe can expand their storage capacity with an M.2 SSD, a type of high-speed solid-state drive that can be installed in the PS5 console or PS5 Digital Edition console. Once installed in the PS5 or PS5 Digital Edition console, M.2 SSD storage can be used to download, copy, and launch PS5 and PS4 games, as well as media apps. You can play PS5 and PS4 games directly from M.2 SSD storage and freely move games between storage options. M.2 SSDs must meet the minimum performance and size requirements. Using an M.2 SSD also requires effective heat dissipation with a cooling structure, such as a heatsink, that meets the dimensional requirements. I have discussed the preferred SSDs for the PlayStation 5, which I will link it in the top of the video. Go and check it out after watching the video. With the PS Remote Play app, players have enjoyed the ability to remotely stream and play PS4 and PS5 games, switch between games, and browse their console's menus on any compatible device connected to their broadband network. Now, players using the mobile app for iOS and Android have the option of using a mobile data connection when Wi-Fi is not available. Broadband internet with at least 5 megabits per second is required for PS Remote Play. For the best experience, we recommend a high-speed connection with upload and download speeds of at least 15 megabits per second. To help manage the amount of data used through a mobile connection, players can select their preferred video quality for mobile data streaming. The quality and connectivity of your remote play experience may vary depending on your mobile carrier network and network environment. Starting next Thursday, September 23, a PS App update will begin rolling out globally and give users the ability to view their friends' share screen broadcasts together. To start, join a party voice chat from your mobile device with a friend who's playing on a PS5 console. Then ask your friend on PS5 to start their share screen broadcast. Only players on PS5 can broadcast via share screen. The Android version of the update is a phased release and may take 1 week until the update is available on our mobile devices. They are also introducing some new features for PS4, including the ability for players to view their PS5 trophies on their PS4 profile and trophy list. Players can also view other players' PS5 trophies on PS4. On both PS4 and PS5 consoles, party owners now also have the ability to disband a party without having to remove players individually. This update is a big one, as it adds several enhancements and quality of life upgrades. PlayStation Showcase 2021 has gotten gamers excited, and a lot of the hype surrounds God of War, Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic, and the upcoming Marvel projects being developed by Insomniac Games. One of the games revealed was the highly anticipated Spider-Man 2 for the PS5, where it would be continuing the adventures of Peter Parker and Miles Morales. The other was a project that completely took fans by surprise, as a game focused on the beloved X-Men member Wolverine is on the way. Fans were only given a brief CGI teaser trailer for Marvel's Wolverine, but it gives a good idea of the game's tone. I am watching reaction videos all day, and the excitement is really amazing and satisfying. Showed a bloody, grisly aftermath of Logan sitting in a bar quietly drinking while listening to some music. While he gets approached by someone from behind, there's a lot of scars and blood covering his knuckles. Once his assailant makes himself known, Logan simply extends his claws ready for a fight. This trailer had some us asking how big of a game Wolverine would be, as well as if it would be darker than Insomniac's Spider-Man games. A creative director at Insomniac Games, Brian Horton, was happy to touch on both points. The original question was asked by a fan on Twitter after the trailer was shortly revealed. They asked if the game would be big, or if it would smaller in scope comparable to Spider-Man, Miles Morales. Horton was not only able to confirm it would be a bigger, full-size game, but it would also be taking on a more mature tone too. This confirmation of this tone opens up possibilities for where the game can go. One of the aspects that many fans want to see captured in this new Wolverine game is the brutality of Logan's claws. Wolverine's claws are deadly weapons that most fans feel can only be captured through the more violent interpretations of his character. This can be seen in the final film that starred Hugh Jackman as Wolverine, Logan. It's quite possible that the game could get an M rating before release based on these comments. Another evidence pointing to that is that the blood and gore expert worked on The Last of Us 2 is working on Wolverine, and also when you go into the PlayStation blog, you can only enter the Wolverine section if you are 18 and above. This is really a good indication for us that we can really experience the Wolverine in full. In comparison, the last two Spider-Man games by Insomniac were rated T for teen, despite touching upon some subject matter that could qualify for an M rating. The last superhero game that got an M rating was Batman Arkham Knight by Rocksteady in 2015, while the last Marvel Comics game to get an M rating being Deadpool in 2013. The possibility that this game could get an M rating also makes it possible that some of the more mature Wolverine comic book stories could be adapted too. Once Insomniac Games finishes its work on Marvel's Spider-Man 2, we will hopefully get to see Wolverine deliver some bloody gore. Speaking of bloody, a recently discovered Sony patent describes an idea for more accurately representing injuries to limbs in violent video games. Published in July, Sony Interactive Entertainment's patent is titled Simulating Motion of Computer Simulation Characters to Account for Simulated Injuries to the Characters Using Current Motion Model. It's certainly descriptive. The basic idea for the patent is that an injured body part will cause a transformation in a character model that forces it to move as if injured. There's even a detail noted that the injured character's facial expression will change based on the injury's severity. A chart in the patent provides a basic breakdown of how injuries could be depicted in video games. It starts with an injury, of course. Afterward, the injured part of the character will be changed, either given additional or less length/weight. Think of it as if the injured part is treated as being severed, or as dead weight the character has to carry. The character model's skeleton then has links added to it, so that uninjured portions of the character can still move despite the injury. If pressure is then applied to these new links, a negative reward occurs, like walking on an injured leg and tripping, or dropping a sword after trying to swing an injured arm. Obviously, how such an idea could be implemented in a game could change dramatically between developers. It's one thing to treat a character model as a series of links and joints that can track whether they've been injured. It's another to create meaningful rewards that feel meaningful, while still complementing gameplay. There are a number of games that have dealt with injuries to specific body parts in clever ways throughout the years, like God of War and The Last of Us. The Soldier of Fortune franchise allowed players to shoot off enemy body parts over 20 years ago. Even older, the Bushido Blade fighting game tried to realistically capture limb injuries from weapons. Regardless, it would be very exciting to see big games like what Sony produces to try and do more with dynamic injuries in violent games. Whether it's purely for AI enemies or for playable characters in a multiplayer game, Sony's patent is a promising idea. Video game development is costly nowadays. Last-gen PlayStation exclusives budget exceed $100 million, and it is estimated that game development cost this gen could go above $200 million. With budgets like that, I want PlayStation to go all in. Moving forward, we have two updates on Bayonetta 3. After being announced 4 years ago at the Game Awards 2017, Platinum Games has provided minimal updates regarding Bayonetta 3's development. The most recent update came this past E3, when Nintendo's Nate Bildorf assured fans that Bayonetta 3 was alive and development was progressing well. While this news was comforting to some, it was an update without anything to show, just a response to an interviewer's question, leaving fans to just take the developers at their word. With the latest update, it seems like the game is still a ways away from being formally shown off. In a recent interview with VGC, Bayonetta 3 director Hideki Kamiya offered a tiny update on the game's development. When asked about the game appearing before the end of the year, Kamiya provided a vague answer, stating that there was no certainty of a reveal coming this year, but this year is as good as any to show something. He goes on to say, "If you remember last time, I said that even though everyone was asking about Bayonetta 3, maybe you should tell everyone to forget about it for a while. I kind of need to keep to that stance for now, because ultimately, it's not our decision what to say and when to say it." This is in line with former comments when Kamiya told fans to forget about Bayonetta 3 for now. Also a part of the interview was the head of Platinum Games, Atsushi Inaba, who provides a slightly more direct statement about Bayonetta 3's development. Inaba states, as if trying to comfort fans, "There's no need to worry." According to Kamiya and Inaba, they really wish they could show the game, but it is unfortunately out of their hands, as Bayonetta 3's publisher, Nintendo, gets the final say with what can be said and shown. While Bayonetta may not be stuck in development limbo, unlike Dead Island 2 or Beyond Good and Evil 2, it definitely still feels like it is. Furthermore, with 3 months left in the year, there is still plenty of time for the game to make an appearance. With current rumors of a Nintendo Direct happening sometime next week, and the Game Awards 2021 a few months away, there are some high-profile events that would be perfect for Bayonetta 3 to show up at. Bayonetta fans have been anxiously awaiting news regarding the status of Bayonetta 3, but development has gone silent at Platinum Games. Some fans even believe that the Nintendo Switch exclusive action game may have been cancelled or rebooted, though Platinum has tried to assure them that things are going fine. Sadly, the first Bayonetta 3 update in a long time isn't good news. It comes from voice actor Helena Taylor, who has voiced Bayonetta herself in all previous appearances. Sadly, Taylor hints that she may no longer be voicing the role. On Saturday, Taylor shared a message on Twitter saying how thankful she is for all of the fans of her portrayal of Bayonetta. One of the responses says that they can't imagine the character of Bayonetta without Taylor's voice, to which Taylor responds, "Well, you might have to." In other words, Taylor is saying that fans may have to get used to Bayonetta being voiced by another voice actor. Unfortunately, Taylor provides no further context regarding this statement. When asked to comment further on the matter by another Twitter user, Taylor tells them that they're not at liberty to say, and that she is bound by a confidentiality clause. Taylor could be restricted by an NDA related to her past or current projects, disallowing her from discussing those projects. Hinting that she may not actually be involved, that she may not be voicing Bayonetta, could fall into a gray area that the NDA doesn't actually cover. If she's not actually involved, then an NDA tied to involvement isn't binding. Given the situation at hand, there's no real way to verify whether or not Taylor is involved in the development of Bayonetta 3 in any way, or if she'll be voicing Bayonetta again or not. However, there's really no reason not to take her statement seriously either. Platinum Games may very well have decided not to bring Taylor back to voice the character. This types of situation is always complicated, of course. Maybe Platinum Games is making a Bayonetta prequel with a much younger Bayonetta, or a game where she is older. Maybe there are some other extenuating circumstances regarding the situation. It's also possible Platinum just decided to go in a different direction, like Hideo Kojima with Solid Snake's voice in Metal Gear Solid 5. Perhaps fans' fears have come true and Bayonetta 3 was cancelled, though this is purely speculation. Regardless of the situation, Bayonetta fans are likely to take this news harshly. Taylor's voice for Bayonetta is a key aspect of the character and a large part of why she's so beloved. Without her voice, Bayonetta 3 will be that much more distant from the games and everything they represented. Hopefully, Platinum Games can clarify the situation soon. The recent PlayStation Showcase on September 9 brought with it a bevy of trailers for both new titles and previously advertised games. One of the most eye-catching trailers at PlayStation Showcase 2021 came early on in the event with a dazzling look at Project Eve, an action game in development for years with clear inspirations from anime and similar games like Devil May Cry. The game has no confirmed release date, but based on the trailer, Project Eve already looks to have a considerable amount of progress. The combat mechanics look flashy, fun, and polished, while the visual style is immediately striking. In fact, Project Eve bears a striking resemblance to the Bayonetta series, another flashy, over-the-top action game starring a female lead. This comparison may work to Project Eve's advantage, as fans of Bayonetta have been anticipating the third game in that series since its announcement nearly 4 years ago. With no concrete updates on Bayonetta 3's production, Project Eve has an opportunity to fill the position for fans eagerly awaiting a game like this. Many would be forgiven if, in the first few moments of the Project Eve trailer, they believed it to be Bayonetta 3. The main female character's acrobatic style, long legs, and black hair could have all been mistaken for the same physical appearance of Bayonetta herself. As the trailer progresses, it is clear this is a different game entirely, but the comparisons still linger, which is a positive thing for Project Eve. Players that enjoy high-octane action games, or more specifically fans anticipating Bayonetta 3, will likely have eyes locked onto this title in the coming months. The lengthy trailer made a great effort to demonstrate all of the unique enemies the player will fight against, as well as the intricate combat system. Deftly blending these two elements, all with the same sense of style seen in Devil May Cry and Bayonetta, make this a game to watch. The wait for Bayonetta 3 has been a long road, but Project Eve has positioned itself in a comfortable spot to fill the shoes of Bayonetta 3 in its continued absence from the gaming scene. Hideo Kojima has earned quite the reputation in his decades-long career, being the face behind the Metal Gear Solid games and most recently Death Stranding. For as long as he's been around, Kojima has also included striking, strange elements in his games, like flaming whales and P mechanics. One of Kojima's newest ideas sounds intriguing for entirely different reasons, though those reasons are particularly ambitious. In an interview with the Japanese magazine Anin, spotted by Silicon Era, Hideo Kojima is looking to make a game that changes in real time. As an example of what he means, Kojima stated that the type of game he wants to make could change based on where someone lives and their unique perspective. That's still a bit surprising, but looking back at Kojima's past work is a good way to unpack what he means. For example, Death Stranding is about connecting people that was released on the precipice of a global pandemic, during a time where countries were more focused on building up walls than tearing them down. While Kojima's concepts tend to get pretty alien, it's not difficult to see the ways that he could run with a game that changes based on a player's location and perspective, though it's difficult to say if those would be simple factors or something like one's economic status. Kojima provided a more direct example of his evolving games experience in the interview too. Specifically, Kojima cited Boktai, a Game Boy Advance game developed by Kojima and published by Konami back in 2003. Boktai used the Game Boy's light sensor as a means for players to kill vampires, which would in turn encourage players to play the game in the sun during certain sections. It was an ingenious feature for the time, but technology has advanced quite a lot since then. Kojima could easily work out ways to use some of modern gaming hardware's newest features. For instance, if Kojima were to make another PlayStation console exclusive, the PS5 DualSense built-in microphone and adaptive triggers could easily factor into experimental game mechanics. Kojima is rumored to be working on a number of new projects right now, though nothing has been confirmed quite yet. It's possible that his next project will be something as simple as Death Stranding 2, though it's difficult to say. A game that evolves in real time certainly sounds intriguing, though. Up next, we have an update from Media Molecule on Little Big Planet. Little Big Planet 3, the adorable platforming, level-creating game developed by Sumo Digital, is the third title in the series started by Media Molecule. It has been a difficult year for the series as Little Big Planet's servers suffered a DDoS attack in March, to which Sony responded by temporarily shutting down the servers. The problem was eventually resolved, but a series of continued attacks resulted in Sony turning off the servers indefinitely while trying to fix the issue. These attacks did not shut down just one game, but practically every playable form of Little Big Planet, as the games share servers, hence older levels being able to be imported into newer titles. A new tweet from the official Little Big Planet Twitter account confirms that multiple games have been permanently shut down. While once there was no fix in sight for the Little Big Planet servers, Sony released an update bringing the PlayStation 4 servers back online, making its more than 10 million user-created levels playable once more. This news is unfortunately coupled with the announcement that the online services for Little Big Planet 2, Little Big Planet 3, PS3, and Little Big Planet PS Vita are all to be permanently shut down. Sony believes this is the best way to protect the Little Big Planet community and to help ensure that our online environment remains safe. Naturally, many fans are upset by the news, especially due to its abrupt nature. The shutting down of the servers means fans can no longer create new levels and hope to share them online in any of the before-mentioned titles. Fortunately, the content that players have already made from that time will not be lost, and is still playable in Little Big Planet 3 on PS4. Considering there were already more 6 million user-created levels in Little Big Planet 2 shortly after it launched in 2012, more than half of what's currently playable is in onus to those original players. It truly is unfortunate the way this series of events have played out. While the levels that have already been made are not lost, the ability to create levels in those games has. For the many fans who were still actively working on projects before the servers were shut down, suddenly they just lost all their work. It is easy to blame Sony for a lack of warning, but at the same time, it likely did not know it was turning off the servers for the last time while addressing its attacks. Though Sackboy's adventures continue in Sackboy: A Big Adventure and Little Big Planet 3, a part of his history has surely been lost today. Overall, we have the power of dreams to create new things, and Little Big Planet 3 is also there. I hope Media Molecule release an updated version for the PS5, with more accessibility options and the ability to create more detailed projects, while Sackboy: A Big Adventure reviewed well, confirming that the adorable character can succeed beyond the LBP series. That does not mean that the franchise where he got his start should be left behind. In fact, Little Big Planet 4 should be Sackboy's next adventure, with a new era of playing, creating, and sharing being ushered in. With the launch of the PS5 comes a new generation of gamers that deserves to experience a Little Big Planet game in its prime, with a busy community and DLC additions constantly being made. Everything that players loved about LBP could return, with customizable pods, deep level creation, and co-op play coming back. The other characters from Little Big Planet 3, like Oddsock, could also return, with more added to provide some fresh gameplay opportunities. The different camera perspective from Sackboy: A Big Adventure could also be given to players, allowing them to make proper platformers more easily than they could in the original games. More camera options could make FPS projects simpler, as they were even harder to pull off in the older titles. While Media Molecule might not return for this hypothetical project, inspiration should be taken from the developers' hard work with dreams. That game truly gives creators the freedom to make anything that they want, with some of the things that players have made being beautiful and thought-provoking. Whether it is a brief video, a fan-made game, or a tribute to Ratchet and Clank, there is a lot to see in Dreams. A new LBP game would see the community more active than it has been in a long time, with creators new and old hopping on to test out all the tools that a next-generation Little Big Planet would have to offer. A new Little Big Planet game could take full advantage of the PS5's features, with ray tracing allowing environments, props, and Sackboy to look more detailed than ever before. Having some kind of technology in place that updates all the old materials used in the 10 million LBP levels that currently exist would also be great, as it would give players a reason to check out their old favorites once again. DualSense features could even be included, with haptic feedback and adaptive triggers able to add a new level of immersion to levels made by the LBP player base. Over the years, players have done a stellar job of making everything from side-scrollers to hide-and-seek levels. Long before an official Dead Space remake was announced, players were able to enjoy a 2D version of Isaac's first encounter with a necromorph. Fans remade music from Final Fantasy, while official DLC allowed players to build their own Marvel and Metal Gear Solid adaptations. Little Big Planet's legacy is deserving of respect, as the series holds a special place in the hearts of many. An LBP4 can honor that legacy, giving all the old levels a fresh coat of paint and a new home that is not at risk of being taken away. More importantly, it would inspire a whole new era of creators to leave their mark on the Little Big Planet universe. When the Oculus Quest initially debuted, it provided gamers with a nearly PC-quality standalone VR experience unique to the product. While the first and second Oculus Quest have sold quite well, many have voiced concerns regarding its closed ecosystem and restrictive Facebook account requirements. While Facebook doesn't appear to be budging on these aspects, a planned standalone virtual and mixed reality headset may end up providing some competition. Lynx, a 2-year-old startup operating out of France, has announced its new VR/AR standalone headset, the Lynx R1. The Lynx R1 will provide players with the ability to use both virtual reality games and applications as well as mixed reality ones, where the headset's 2 high-resolution color cameras will let users see the real world around them with the headset creating an overlay over it. The Lynx R1 virtual reality headset looks to pose some significant competition to the Oculus Quest 2 when it comes to technical specifications. Featuring 6DoF movement and a Qualcomm XR2 processor, the same one the Oculus Quest 2 uses, the unit will track hands similarly to the Oculus Quest, in addition to working with controllers. The unit will function with Steam VR, and features a 90 degrees FOV with 1600x1600 resolution per eye Viaducta LCD display running at 90 Hz. For comparison's sake, the Oculus Quest 2 features a slightly higher 1832x1920 per eye resolution LCD, and has lower resolution black and white cameras for pass-through purposes. Though it initially launched at a lower refresh rate of 72 Hz, it's since been updated to support 90 Hz, putting it on equal footing with the Lynx R1. The two systems also have 6 GB of memory each, and are rated to roughly last between 2 to 3 hours on battery power. Notably, the Lynx R1 advertises independent lens separation adjustment, which may provide more customization options than the Quest 2's 3 set IPD choices. While the Lynx R1 has a lot of promise, for now, it's entering the funding phase by opening a Kickstarter later this month. The unit will cost $499, which puts it at a higher cost than the Oculus Quest headsets. However, with promises of a completely open ecosystem and privacy for its users, it may be an additional cost that some are willing to pay for the sake of peace of mind and full control over their device. With the competition in VR space growing day by day, I hope PSVR 2 surpass expectations. And that's all for the video, guys. Like and share the video for a greater audience. Comment your thoughts on the topics, and donations are always appreciated. Subscribe to the channel and click the bell icon, and until then, from SMPV, it's goodbye.